Hola. Gracias por venir. I see everybody coming in. Hola. Thank you for the heart. Muchas gracias, lo aprecio. Thank you for the heart that you sent. Everybody, thanks for coming. Good. I'm glad estás bien. Yeah, he says you're good. Okay. Hola, Robin, the comeback coach. Hola. Me siento excelente. Gracias por preguntarme. I feel excellent. Thanks for asking. All right, so today's lesson is by special request. Callie, I think this was you that asked for a lesson on por. So a lot of people, they sometimes confuse por and para because there's two ways to say for in Spanish. There's por and there's para. And it's like, okay, which one do we use and how do we use them? Because I want to make sure that each lesson has enough time to really go into detail. So because I go live Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to be studying por today and para on Thursday. So let's try not to mix the two because I'm going to do one each day. So por us today on Tuesday and then para on Thursday. So make sure you come for both lessons. But just so you know, there are two ways that we say por in Spanish. Or for. There's two ways to say for. There's por and there's para. But today, we're just focusing on por. And then we'll focus on para the next time. But, all right, so today we are working on por, which is one of the ways that we say for in Spanish. So what I want to let you know is that por is basically why things happen. Without it, your Spanish is going to sound incomplete. So this is a very important word. It's a small word, but it's important to convey a lot of different things. Por, we use that in everyday life. It's basically for how long, how did you do something, how you traveled, how you communicated. So let's get into it. So these are the reasons why we use por. So por is used to express, and we're going to go over examples of these. But por is used to express reason, duration, so how long something lasted, exchange, so it like say you're at the store and you're exchanging money, $20 por la camiseta, $20 for the t-shirt, so it's for like exchange rates. It's for movement, like how you get somewhere, like by bus or by airplane, so it discusses movement. It's for communication. So remember, one day last week, we did a Spanish conversation where I talked about, hablé con mi madre por teléfono, which I talked to my mom by phone. So it's also like a means of communication. And because of, so like the reasons we talked about earlier. Now, if you need a clear-cut definition, let's see. Oh, I've always wanted to know the difference between these. Oh, I'm glad you're Fave 77. So you're on the right live then, because that's what we're learning about today. So the clear-cut definition, why something happens or how it happens. All right. So just remember it's the why and it's the how. All right. And for our formula today, what we're going to be working by is verb plus por plus the reason, the method, or the duration. All right, so I'll leave these definitions up here. That way, when we go over our examples, you'll know exactly like how we're using it and how it correlates to our definitions up here and the reasons that we use these. All right, because we have several different reasons. And I know it may seem like a few different ones, but you know, the more you do it, it becomes much, much easier. And this stuff will eventually become second nature to you. Okay, so let's start with the first example sentence. I'm going to tackle our first definition, which is reason or usage. That's what I meant to say. One of our first usages is reason. So let's do an example. Okay, so the first example, lo hice por tú. Lo hice por tú. And what that translates to is so this sentence translates to I did it for you. I did it for you. Okay. So let's see, do we have all three of these in here? Do we have all three of the parts of it? So we have a verb, hice, is the preterite tense of hacer, meaning to do. So we have a verb. We have por, and then we have ti, which is you, which that to me sounds like that's a reason for doing something. That's the reason. I did it for you. So this falls under our reason definition, or it can fall under our because of definition. So because of, reason, those kind of go together. So you can do it because of something, or you can do it for the reason of something. But that's how we do that example. Lo hice por ti. So if you ever want to say, hey, I did it for you, lo hice por ti. Okay, so that's how we use that in case of the reason usage. That's our reason usage. Okay. Now, let's do duration. That's one of my favorites because that's such a common one. Duration. How long you did something. Let's say, estudié. How long do we want to study for? Por 2 horas. Okay, estudié por 2 horas. Now, just to give you all like a little bit of reminder from last week, if you all were on here last week when we did the preterite, hola, tele. If you all were on here last week when we were doing the preterite, this verb right here, estudié, that is the preterite form of estudiar, meaning to study. And the reason why it's preterite, because remember last week we talked about the preterite and how it describes a completed action, like a start and a finish. Well, if you studied for 2 hours, that's very specific. That is a start and a finish. That's not estudiaba, that's estudié. So not imperfect, but preterite. So see how Spanish all ties together? But we're not here to talk about the preterite. I just wanted to let you know that, yes, this is a preterite verb, and that is the reason why, because it's a completed action. You did something for a completed action for a specific amount of time, 2 hours. Now, back to our scheduled programming, por. So let's look at our formula. So we have the verb, we have the word por, and do we have the reason, the method, or the duration? Yes, ding, 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 we have the duration for 2 hours. That's our duration. So we have it set up correctly. If ever you want to say for duration, like how long you did something, how long you talked, how long you did anything, anytime dealing with hours, numbers, minutes, seconds, any time of duration, you're going to use por. So estudié por 2 horas. Okay, so that is how we do that. Estudié por 2 horas. Por 2 horas. And if we just wanted to do another sentence like that, we can say, all right, so a similar sentence. Hablé con mi madre por 3 horas, which is I talked to my mom for 3 hours. So still the same thing. Por is to mark the duration of time that you did something. It's accounting. It's like how long you did something. So it's like you could say like you left something in the oven for 10 minutes. You talked to somebody for 3 hours. You studied for 2 hours, for 2 minutes, 2 months, 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. Anytime you have duration, we're going to use the word por. Hola, Timo. Okay, so we got that example. And don't worry, for those of you all who are just now coming in, these end up on the YouTube channel. So I will be uploading today's replay to the YouTube channel. And the YouTube handle is the same as it is here on TikTok, Black Girl Spanish. All right, now let's do another one. So we did reason, we did duration. Let's do movement. So by means of. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Okay. Caminé por el parque. Caminé por el parque. I walked through the park. I walked through the park. All right, now before we go on to that one, let's see. 50 fine and wine. Oh, I'm just now seeing this comment. It says, why hablé and not habló? Because we're talking about something in the past tense. If we were to say habló, that would mean I talked to my mom for 3 hours. But right now, that was a past tense sentence to say something that we already did. And when we are speaking in past tense, we would say hablé for the yo form. So in that case, we weren't talking about present tense, habló. We were talking about hablé because that was a past tense type of a sentence. All right, so now look at this one. So this means I walked through the park. So I walked through the park. And that's a new vocabulary word. So in case y'all didn't know, park is parque in Spanish. So I walked through the park. So if ever you want to say like, okay, I walked through, exactly, Mia. So it says por can mean for or through. Yes, it can. Because what that is, let's go back up to our definition. That tells you our movement. So movement. So through or by means of. So yes, all of that fits under movement. Through, by way of. So that's what it means by movement. So yes, it can also mean por, can also be used for through or to show how you got somewhere. Because remember our definition, why something happens or how it happens. So, okay, how did you get to the park? Okay, yeah, through the park. How did you approach the park? Through it. Caminé por el parque. So if ever you're wondering, how do I say, okay, I want to say I walked through the park. You know, you can say, you don't want to say, okay, caminé en el parque. We want to say caminé por el parque. That's just the correct movement term that we use to express movement or by way of which we do something. I'll give you another example. Most people like to travel this way because it's a lot faster. So, me gusta viajar por avión. And that is, I like to travel by plane. Okay, because that's by way of, that's a method of which you get somewhere. So by method, by way, that's how we say, okay, I like to travel by plane. So por is the verb or the word that we use for that too. So if ever you want to say, you know, how you're getting somewhere, por avión. Okay. Okay, so let's go through another example. So we did movement, we did reason, we did cause, we did by duration. Let's see, we can do another one. Let's go, which one that we haven't done before? Let's see. Okay, so we did movement, we did duration, we did, we haven't done exchange yet. Okay, yeah, exchange. Let's do that one next. All right, so in the case of going to the store, so this will be super helpful if ever you're traveling in a Spanish-speaking country and you need help talking in stores and talking about money and all that kind of stuff, we can say, okay, so this one, compré la camisa por $20. So I bought the shirt for $20. So in this case, for functions as a way of exchange. You gave this for that. You gave money for the shirt. You gave money for the product or whatever it is you bought. You can replace that with apples, with oranges, with shoes. It doesn't matter what you're buying, but whenever you talk about the exchange in terms of money, it's por. So compré la camisa por $20. Okay? So just to show you how easy it is, we can say, let's go ahead and say apple, manzana. Okay? Compré la manzana por $2. I bought the apple for $2. That's an expensive apple, isn't it? But yeah, so anytime you're talking about exchange, exchanging money for a product or service, we're going to say por in that case. That's how we use that for the exchange. All right. Okay. Now let's do communication and method. So communication and method, because that's our last one that we have up here for the usages. So let's say, for example, so in terms of communication and method, remember the method, let's look back up at our formula. We have to have the verb. So do we have a verb? Yes, we do. We have hablamos. Do we have the word por? Yes, we do. And do we have a reason, a method, or a duration? Okay, so a method, that's telephone. That's the method of which you do something. So we already have all three of what we need. So what this really breaks down to is we talked on the phone. We talked on the phone. So I know you may be tempted to say in, like, in the phone, hablamos por, or hablamos en teléfono, but that's just not grammatically correct. In here in Spanish, it's hablamos por teléfono. So it's like essentially saying we talk via phone. So if you just have to think of it like that, you can say we talked. You could say via the phone, even though technically this is us saying we talked on the phone. But if you have to understand that por is a method of which you do something, you can use via. So we talked via the phone. So anytime you have a method of which you do something, you would use por for that. Okay? So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways that you would be using por. And just to go over it again, the definition is why something happens or how it happens. It's used for a reason, duration, exchange, movement, communication, or just because of something or somebody. All right. And it gets easier the more you use it. So I would just highly suggest, writing this down. And it's okay if you came in late or you didn't get a chance to write it all down. I'll put it on YouTube later this evening so that you all can have it to refer back to. But in that case, it's time for us to do our game time. Let's do some activities now to see what you all remember. And I'll leave this up here. That way you can refer back to it too. Okay, so we're going to do translation. So you're going to translate it from English to Spanish. I'm going to write the sentence in English and you put it in Spanish. Now, this is a callback to the beginning of class. It's the very first sentence I wrote in here. I want to see who remembers it. It's the very first sentence that I wrote. And I want to say, I did it because of you. Or I did it for you. Either way, I did it because of you. I did it for you. What would that be in Spanish? That's the very first sentence example that we did today. I did it because of you. Or another way you can say is, I did it for you. I see not too many people must have been here as soon as class started. Yeah, because some people, they came in at different times. Well, it's okay. It was the very first sentence, so a lot of y'all probably didn't catch it, but it's okay. Kylie says, I can't remember the I, but it was hice por. Okay, good. You got half of it. Very good. That's better than nothing. So yeah, so the way the answer is, lo hice por ti. So, lo means it. Hice, I did. Por is for. Ti is you. So it looks like it, I did for you, but the way we do it is I did it because of you. That's the way it translates to English. I did it because of you. So, lo hice por ti. Lo hice por ti. Okay? So, good job on that one. Let's do our other example. Okay, so the next one, we're going to try fill in the blanks. So I do like the fill in the blank one. So I am going to write a sentence and then you tell me what would go in the blank. So it's kind of like a what's missing out of here. All right, I'm trying to say, I walked through the park. I walked through the park. What am I missing here in this sentence? Yeah, very good, everybody. Por. Let me go back through and see everybody's answers. Yes, Mia, the answer is por. 50 fine wine. Good job, por. Good job, Cheyenne. Caminé por el parque. Good job. K vowels. Por. That's good job. Timo, por. Yep. Your fave 77. Por. Cali, por. Robin, the comeback coach, por. Hannah Barnes, por. Excellent job. So, yes. So, this one, caminé por. All right. Now, bonus points for who all can tell me what usage this even speaks to. When I say I walked through the park, what part of por am I using it for? Am I using it for reason, duration, exchange, movement, communication? Which of these usages does this even apply to? Based off of our verbiage up here. Exactly. Yes, it refers to our movement. Movement. Exactly. Very good job. All right, now we got one last one. And it's my favorite one. My favorite exercise is I'm going to write a sentence and you have to tell me what is wrong with it. I studied for 2 hours. That's what this sentence says. I studied for 2 hours. What is wrong with this sentence? Yes, good job, Callie. Good job, Cheyenne. Good job, Ellie. Yes, Callie. It should not be para. Good job, Mia. It should be por because we haven't learned about para yet. So what is para doing here in the lesson? We haven't even talked about it yet. So good job. So good job. Yep. Tele says it's supposed to be por. K Val says not para. It's going to be por. Oh, you already got me ahead of time. I was just going to ask, what type of por is this even referring to? So yes, we do understand it's por. But then I'm like, okay, well, what is it even referring to? And you're correct. It's duration. Because I was just about to ask, what is this even referring to, guys? Duration. So duration, like however long you do something, that's the type of por that we are referring to, is the duration definition of it. So yeah, good job. So yeah, that is what you'll use if ever you're trying to, establish a length of time, a duration, how long. All of it means that you'll be using por. Very good job, you guys. All right, now quiz time. Let's see. I'll do one more sentence. Let's say, well, it's not a sentence, it's a question. Let's say I am at the store. Let's say I'm shopping. Let's say I'm, giving money in exchange for a product, like a product or something. What type of poor definition am I appealing to? If I'm talking about money, if I'm talking about shopping or a store, what definition of poor do you think I might be referring to? Good job, Timo. Good job, Cheyenne. The exchange. Good job, Kevals. Good job, Maya says exchange for the item. So yeah, the exchange. So yes, exchange. So let's look at that one more time. Let's say you're in a store. You want to say, you know what? I bought the shirt, la camisa, por 20, which is $20. So yes, in this case, if you're talking about exchanges and talking about money, it's always going to be por. Por. When you're talking about money and exchanging things. In time of exchange, it is por. So yes. Yep, good job. Yep. Compré la camisa por $20.